Let's look ahead to the future. We know the third debate is November 8th. That will be in Miami. That sounds good for Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the governor of Florida, obviously. But we know someone already said they won't be there. A senior Trump campaign advisor said last night, reportedly, Trump already will not be in attendance. And they released a statement calling last night's debate boring and imploring the RNC to cancel the debate since Trump is polling so far ahead. What do you think of all of that noise?
That's what it is, noise. Um, Trump won't be there, and why should he be? Uh, it's it's a terrible thing to call it boring, really, because what boring refers to is television shows or movies. We're not picking a movie star. We're not voting for the best sitcom. We're voting for the President of the United States. And if it's boring to discuss tax policy or what we should do in Ukraine or the federal budget, by the way, I wish there had been questions about how you're going to contain entitlements and a big budget deficit. Does that mean you're going to cut the military? What does it mean? Um, so I think that the fact that they tried to make it a substantive debate was a good thing. The fact that it's in Miami doesn't really help Ron DeSantis for a good reason. The audience was so well behaved. The only time you really heard the audience was kind of a gasp when Chris Christie came up with one of those nicknames that we normally associate with things that Donald Trump does when he called him Donald Duck. I thought it was actually a kind of a clever nickname, but the fact is, Christie is not running to win. He's running to sink Donald Trump. And unless you get this group down to a very few people, three or four, who have time to really debate each other, as well as answer questions in more depth, boring that may be. We're not. By the way, on that in that regard, I really liked. I think it was Ron DeSantis who said we're not voting somebody off the island. Was it him who said
He
that,
led the
Brittany?
charge there. Yeah, he led the charge once Dana
Right.
Perino asked the survivor style question. He was like, "No, I'm not doing that. That's disrespectful." And everyone then piled on and agreed.
Yes, I agree. It was he answered it in the right way. It was disrespectful to the other candidates. It was a silly question, and that had been asked at the end of the last debate, and it embarrassed the people who asked it, not the candidates on stage. And in addition to just saying it would be disrespectful to the others, it reframes the debate in the wrong way. It says this is a television program that we're trying to build audience for. That's understandable if you work for a television station, right? But it's not the goal that we as American citizens should have in looking at these debates. So I'm glad Ron DeSantis did this. Let me say one more word about Ron DeSantis. I, I have argued that he really maybe permanently hurt himself in the race by framing his candidacy the wrong way. He framed it as I'm very conservative on social issues, uh, and I'm sure he is. It's not a false statement in any way. And he now has a little bit of an opening because Trump has kind of trimmed a bit on abortion issues. But that was not his strong suit. His strong suit was to say, I agree with the Republican electorate on all these main issues. But what differentiates me from the front runner, Donald Trump, is that I've actually successfully implemented them in Florida. I haven't just said I'm going to implement them, I've done it. And when I've done it, people have come over to our side, and I've turned a purple state into a red state. Those were his two big arguments. And the fact is, he missed them. He has other issues. he doesn't have that wonderful happy warrior quality that Tim Scott has. But the main thing was that he picked the wrong message. And the message I'm saying was not only his strong suit, but allowed him to differentiate himself from Trump without having to begin by attacking Trump. And that's a problem for them, not only because they're, to go back to your question, they have to get past each other, but they also have to capture Trump's voters. And you're not going to capture them if you're a candidate who's seen, like Chris Christie is, as attacking Trump all the time, because some of Trump's voters are going to say you're attacking me too.